Exactly. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Middles Open. I'm Michael Morris. With me, as always, Lou Willard. Lou, how are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good because I'm going to read something out loud, and I know
Here
you're
we
going to
go.
agree with me. This is the title of the subject today, and Lou said off the microphone he totally agrees. The Anthony Davis trade and why LeBron is about LeBron only. Lou, you agree with that wholeheartedly.
None. Negative.
See, listen, we're going to have to restart this show. We disagree, and this is why I love the fact that we're going to have this conversation. This is my point. So the Dallas Mavericks in the middle of the game at halftime trade Harrison Barnes, right? And LeBron makes this post about the NBA. How are you going to let this happen? How cruel? How blah, 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 blah. 2 days earlier, he's letting his team make a deal for 6 players, 4 draft picks for Anthony Davis, right? And
before the game, though, not
okay,
after.
well, I'll give him credit. He said he could do that before the game. So he's going to go out there with the ball boy, Mitch Kupchak, and
Me and
anybody
you.
else. Yeah. And I think we would still lose by 42 to the Pacers.
I'm going to get 3 boards, though, and foul out.
That's the same thing did in high school. What's the big deal?
Absolutely.
But I want to go back to this Anthony Davis trade and LeBron. This bothers me, and I told you this off the air. The NBA today, there are 6 teams out of 30 that have a chance to win, and other than that, it's garbage.
Yeah, and I don't totally disagree with you. I agree with
I
you
know,
there.
that's why I said you agree with everything I said in the beginning.
So that's why I said totally agree
Oh,
with you.
okay, you're right.
I don't totally agree with, because the NBA, listen, we loved it in the 80s and 90s. Now we're looking like the grumpy old man, but that's okay.
We are.
But there were still only 6 to 8 teams that had a chance to win it. The players just didn't run the league like they run the league now. But even with LeBron, none of these teams that he's winning these championships for are lining up giving them back. They know what they're signing up for, and he's delivering on what he tells them he will do when he gets there. I mean, he didn't get to all, not 1, not 2, and all the way up to 7 or 8 he did with Miami. But he's been to the finals 8 straight years. This will be the first year he won't go. And you know when you get him, you know you're going to go to the finals. Why he's there, he may win it, may not, but he's been successful at the places he's been. And you know when you leave, if you're a good organization, you can withstand it. Cleveland was a trash organization before they drafted him. They did well with him. He left. They were trash again.
Darius Miles, that's all I want to say. Hall of Famer.
At his high school, maybe. At his high school, maybe.
They retired his jersey at his high school. You got to give me that much.
I mean, I'm assuming they would have.
Okay.
I'm assuming they would have. But the Miami Heat didn't fall completely apart. I mean, they'll be a playoff team. Are they going to win a title? No, but they never did, except when they had Dwayne Wade and Shaq. So there's not like there's ever been parity in the NBA. Like, and when we loved the NBA, Golden State was a laughingstock.
Okay, but I agree with that. But here was my point, that when you watch Golden State, they had Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond, Tim Hardaway, Chris Webber for 1 year. Even when he was gone, they got Billy Owens. You're going to pay your hard-earned money to see them. Are you going to go see LeBron and Brandon Ingram? I could name all the guys that play for the Lakers, and none of those guys would you pay to watch, because nobody wanted to watch them last year. Now LeBron is there. When LeBron comes to your team, you better know, don't unpack your bags, because you're leaving.
Absolutely.
Cleveland traded 7 guys at the deadline last year, and they were guys they brought on at the beginning of the year, including Isaiah Thomas. They bring on, this is my squad, and then he's nowhere to be found when they make these trades.
Well, why would he be, though?
Because he's the one that's in the
Absolutely, but why would he? He's never going to come out and say that. The GM's not even going to let him say it, because the GM wants to look like he actually should have a job, when realistically he shouldn't, because we all know LeBron's the GM. But LeBron is business. He's about business and titles. If you don't like that, don't bring him on. He got rid of Dwayne Wade. They're best friends.
Well, he should have. That guy's terrible. I mean,
And so are a lot of these other guys.
That's the only thing he's ever done.
Listen, and so are a lot of these other guys he's trading.
Okay, but this is when people say, is he the GOAT? Where's Kobe in that conversation? Because Kobe took the Looney Tunes squad and beat the Celtics when they were stacked.
The Looney Tunes squad.
Outside of Paul Gasol, name another guy on that team that was any good.
That's awesome. But this is what I'll say about the whole GOAT conversation. It's irrelevant to me unless you make it generational. Because times change. The basketball is not even remotely close to basketball we grew up with. And football, it may as well be called something else. It's so different. So the whole GOAT conversation to me is irrelevant. He's the GOAT of this generation. Jordan was the GOAT of his generation. Same thing with Brady and Montana. And you can go back to Bradshaw because I make my Steelers reference every show. So there it is, Terry Bradshaw.
I'll give you this. Terry Bradshaw is a great broadcaster.
You need to stop. You need to stop. But that's what I'm saying. The players have mobility, and I love it. I mean, Anthony Davis, we could hoot and holler about him wanting out and wanting to go to L.A. Dude, leaving $50 million on the table to get out of New Orleans. I don't care how much money you got. $50 million is $50 million.
You ever been in New Orleans? I would give him $50 million. I don't even make that to get out of New Orleans.
Yes, I have. And $50 million, I just buy a moat like Tom Brady got, and you just can't come to my door. I mean, that's a lot of money.
There's a lot of voodoo. I don't want to get on the New Orleans thing, but I do want to talk about this. So Anthony Davis's dad says he doesn't want his son to go to Boston because Boston traded Isaiah Thomas after he loses his sister. You know, she dies in that car accident.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
yeah.
He gets him to Game 7. He gets hurt, tears his hip. And he says Boston's not loyal. What happened when he went to Cleveland? He was healthy for like 10 games, and then LeBron's like, nah, get him out of here. You got to go.
My point is, when I heard that, first thing across my mind, who is loyal?
Oh, you want to name people that are loyal?
Yeah, we just did. Nobody.
Larry Joe Bird.
Oh.
Did you mean all time? Bill Russell?
I'm talking about what in the NBA now says loyalty from either side. Absolutely nothing.
That's a good point. Doesn't that bother you, though? Do you want to know why all this stuff happens, though? The free agency thing, when they unfurled this thing and the Bird Rule came to effect. You know what the Bird Rule is.
No.
I can sign. The Bird Rule was instituted so the Celtics in around 88, 89 wouldn't lose Larry Bird because he was from Indiana and they thought another team could come and say, I'll give you $30 million a year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when Jordan came out of retirement, they gave him the $30 million, then followed up with 35 after that to sign him in these one-year deals. You can pay one guy on your team max money. That's where max money comes from.
Yeah.
So what happened was, when that happens, let's take Utah as an example. Utah has Stockton and Malone. So they got to get a third piece because you can't win unless you have three guys, right? So they got...
Or unless you got Jordan, according to a lot of people. He could win by himself.
Kobe Bryant doesn't even need teammates. He scored 81 on the Raptors. He didn't even need... somebody has to throw the ball inbounds, and then after that, he'll take care of it. So he probably would have won 81-79. But the deal was, if you take Utah and you say, okay, I got Stockton and Malone, I need a third piece. I can't sign them to long-term deals. I can't give them big money. So I've got to keep rotating somebody else. So I can't run post-up plays. I have no familiarity with my teammates, right? So we have to play a more open, shoot threes, run the floor. That's why you don't see any post-ups. You don't see plays. You don't see screens. When's the last time you saw somebody set a screen?
Well, I mean, if you're watching the Rockets, not for a long time, Harden scored 200 points or something like that, unassisted in a row.
Right.
But you can also blame analytics for that because that came into the game. Oh, well, if we shoot 33s and if we only make 17 of them, that beats shooting 52-pointers and making this. Analytics messed the game up, too. And AAU killed basketball.
Right.
Killed it.
But
that's where the players got their mobility at.
That's what bothers me is these guys are friends. You know, I can remember watching you play football or watching you sit during basketball games.
They know you lying. Don't worry about it. They know you lying.
So you did not like guys from other schools, right? But there was no AAU. There were the summer basketball things. You kind of make friends, but it was like, hey, when the season starts, we're not going to be cool with each other. Completely different.
Well, like, I'll be honest with you. In football, we knew all the guys. We got in probably 6 football fights. But hey, after the game, we were cool. But during the game, we just soon fight.
But now it's not like that. Now they're all buddies, and they...
Different era, too.
But that's what I think is lazy about
it. I don't like that part of it. But I don't care. I don't even care that they work out in the offseason together. If you can step on the court and pull a Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas and get in a fight in the finals.
Right.
And I'm not saying fight every game, but I'm saying they win at each other and they actually did get in the fight. They're best friends.
Right.
Because it's about winning. You know, the player mobility is great. I love that. Kudos to them for working it out. But at the end of the day, when you do get together, once Anthony Davis does get to L.A., whether it's this year or next year or the following year,
do you think
they better win a title.
In Massachusetts because he's going to Boston. I don't know. I'm looking at this piece of paper and it says you're wrong on it. Well, I wrote that, though.
Well, his dad said he can't. Now his dad's LeVar Ball. I mean, why don't his dad shut up to begin with?
Why are they even involved?
Yeah, you're dealing with grown men that got a lot more money than they got.
Well,
but at the end of the day, wherever he goes, since he asked out, and he's going to, which I don't have a problem with him letting them know, but wherever you go, you better deliver because somebody going to have to give up a lot to get you. And I mean deliver a title. I don't mean a trip to the finals.
Right.
You got to win a title.
Okay, so let's say he goes to L.A. It's LeBron and him and some guy that works at Wiener Schnitzel. How are you going to get other guys? Because you got 2 max guys on a team.
And they're going to get a third.
The only team that has Boston has the cap money if Kyrie leaves,
mm-hmm.
and they've got 4 number 1 picks over the next 2 years, and they have I think the oldest guy on their team outside of Kyrie and Marcus Morris is 26 years old. That's a team that's coming up, and they built it through the draft and through trade. Like they traded. Yeah. You're right. There is no loyalty, so they traded Garnett, Pierce. But those guys agreed because they knew what was coming.
Well, and
you went to them and asked them if this was
and that's the same way here with this big offer where they said they were trading Lonzo, Kuzma, and Ingram. Yeah. But on the other side of that, too, was Rajon Rondo, Lance Stevenson, and Michael Beasley.
Rajon Rondo, greatest point guard ever.
They knew that they were one and dones in L.A. They were just coming to try to make another check, see how far they could run it. Now, LA's only giving up the young guys. Out of those young guys, to be honest with you, the only one I would want to keep is Kuzma.
I agree.
You can have the rest of them.
Right.
So that trade didn't bother me at all because they weren't going to give LA anything anyway. Kuzma would, but he's still only going to be a 2 at best in his career. Maybe even a 3 if he goes to like a Boston with Kyrie and Gordon. He'll be a hell of a 3 on that with that group. But so I don't think LA was giving up a lot. The draft picks they were giving up, not going to be good draft picks anyway.
What does New Orleans get is my point. New Orleans gets nothing.
They had 7 years to get something, and they couldn't win when Boogie Cousins was playing with him because they could never get him a good enough point guard or a peer score.
Rondo, they had Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo.
Rondo got you a title, though.
He's going to be one of the top 5 point guard. No. I take it back. One of the top 5 players ever. There's LeBron, Michael Jordan, Rajon Rondo. I think we all agree.
You got him behind those guys, though?
I got him ahead of them.
Okay, there we go.
So, if I'm a Pelicans fan, why am I going? Why am I not canceling my season ticket?
They weren't going anyway.
Well, there's a lot to do in New Orleans. I got to defend that.
Yeah, the attendance was dreadful. And when this squad wasn't winning with Boogie Cousins and the Unibrow, and they had a decent guard at the time. It might have been Lou Williams.
They had Lou Williams, but they had Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday is who I'm thinking about. But they weren't winning. You needed a scorer. Because I'm a Pistons fan. You got Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, two decent guys down low, but nobody's a scorer. And Detroit doesn't have a point guard.
But doesn't that irritate you as a fan that you look at,
Absolutely.
Durant going to Golden State didn't bother me as much as, when Carmelo Anthony wants to join the Rockets, he finally gets there and it doesn't work out. He's just sitting there working out at LA Fitness in Los Angeles, waiting on LeBron to see the video or something on Instagram. Like, how are you going to get better?
I didn't like Durant's move at all because you were just up 3-1 on them and you couldn't close them out, so you wouldn't join them, and then you start running your mouth. That's the problem I had with it. You didn't go to a 9-73 team. You went to a 73-9 team, and then start running your mouth as you say that you want to be considered the best player in the league. Now I will change my tune if he signs with the Knicks and win anything in New York, because that place is a dumpster fire.
But are you giving LeBron credit for going to Lakers when they're terrible? Are you giving him the same credit? I'll give him credit for that.
If he can win?
He didn't go to a team that was like one step away.
Yeah.
He went to a team that's downtrodden. He's 34 years old.
He went to a team because it's Hollywood, and that's his next step in life.
I can't wait to watch all those LeBron James movies. They've all been fantastic so far.
But you'll like the ones he produced.
Well,
because that's where he's going.
He didn't produce Uncle Drew. That was Kyrie. So I just want to put that out.
If y'all can't see he's wearing a Celtic shirt. But they probably.
I happened to have this on when we did this show. The other part of this that bothers me is that these guys, the social media thing, now leads to people assuming, because Kyrie said they were on a 3 or 4 game losing streak, and then he reached out to LeBron to say, "I apologize for how I criticized you in Cleveland." Now he's going to LA. Now he's going to go to New York.
I think all he did was have a moment of clarity because his team was struggling and they were looking at him and he felt the pressure. And I think all he did was reach out as a grown man, even though he's a flat earther, But as a grown man, he reached out and said, you know what? I apologize to you. That doesn't mean what part of that means he's going to L.A.?
I just can't get into this bromance of all these guys are buddies, and now it leads to people thinking they're going somewhere. Durant this morning said he's upset with the local media in California because he's saying, you guys are saying I'm going to the Knicks and I'm going here. If you're not, you know what stops if you go, I'm not going there. Instead of answering the question, you just say, stop talking about it.
And getting on social media, posting the cryptic tweets like he does. And Kyrie said he doesn't owe anybody anything. So now all of a sudden he's leaving Boston. I'm like, how does that mean he's leaving Boston? He doesn't owe anybody anything.
If Kyrie wants to call me, I'm going to tell him right now, he can go. We'll keep Terry Rozier. You go to New York and you win as many games as Carmelo did when they were 17 and 60-something.
If you want to see something exciting, if he leaves Boston, obviously that'll hurt the squad. But Boston will be fine if he just leaves and they don't give up a bunch of stuff somewhere else. And they can draft well like they've been doing. Ainge is arguably the best GM in the league. I mean,
I don't know why anybody trades with him at all.
I mean, he hoses them every time. I mean, I would never play poker with the guy. He's killing people.
He got Isaiah Thomas, who was a bench player, barely the sixth man in Sacramento, and it's like, we'll make him an all-star. Average 29.4 points a game.
Yeah.
And here's a bag of hammers that I have in exchange. I never understand.
And you pay shipping on the hammers.
That's right.
But I would love to see Kyrie and Durant in New York. And I'm not a Knicks fan, but the league is better when the Knicks are good. You remember that? You remember the 90s? Oh man.
When they had Ewing, Anthony Mason, I think all of us
wanted
we wanted to get our hair cut like that because it was in that Beastie Boys song. I'm like, yeah, I want my hair cut correct. But
I had hair back then too.
You did. I remember that. You should have done it.
I had that TWA, that teeny weeny afro. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so if you're comparing that style of basketball to now, you're right. There's still the same 6 teams could have won, but even when the Pistons started sliding, Grant Hill, Joe Dumars, Otis Thorpe.
The Pistons was bad draft picks. Keep in mind, they passed up Carmelo and took Darko Milicic.
That was a great choice.
Yes, if you're a Celtics fan.
Well,
As a Pistons fan, I said, they're really testing my loyalty here.
Do you know that Darko's very wealthy? If you took how many points he scored per game, he made almost like $1.5 million for every point he scored.
Every bucket,
Earned it.
It's a good deal.
Earned it.
On his part.
He's probably in my top 5 of all-time greatest European
players. Yeah.
But don't you feel like that was a better game to watch?
Oh, absolutely, because they still involved the low post. They didn't shoot a lot of threes. Everybody, get this, they passed the ball. There was no ISO ball.
Right.
I mean, they actually passed the basketball. And it was I thought there was more flow to the game back then.
There's absolutely none now.
None now. We take it out. Whoever catch the inbound pass, go down and jack the ball
up. I want to ask you this then, because you're a defender of LeBron. I'm not attacking LeBron as the person. I think the things that he does for his community,
it's phenomenal.
I have no problem with that. And he was really good in that Amy Schumer movie, so that earns bonus points. She was terrible in her own movie. But what I want to know is your feeling on this. So when he doesn't commit to the Cavs and he leaves and goes to the Heat, Dwayne Wade, remember they called it the Duck Boat Tour? It was Chris Paul, Wade, Bosh, all right? And the only one who didn't go to Miami, Wade resigns, and they all go to the Heat. Then they get Antoine Walker, they get Jason Williams. They get these other guys to play with them that are not scrubs.
No, they're good. They just wanted to win a title.
Yeah, they weren't Ty Lue.
They were coming to get a title.
Right. So when you look at that, so then the Heat has to make all these moves to make this work. And then they get older, they can't get over the top, and he leaves.
And Bosh got sick. Bosh's health unfortunately failed him.
But so then he goes back to Cleveland, and you're saying the cupboard wasn't there. It was okay. They were a 500 team in Miami, and they're kind of just floundering right now, which is fine because they got there.
But that's all. That they were doing those things before he got there.
Right. So then he goes to Cleveland, and everybody's like, no, as long as he wins a title, it's fine. So they got their title. They got Kevin Love. They got guys they can't get rid of. You're saying that's still okay. I'm not challenging on that.
I mean,
I'm kind of okay with that.
LeBron's about winning the championship. He's telling you he's going to get you one if you take. You know what you're signing up for. I'm speaking from the GMs and everything in this situation and these fan bases. You know what you're getting when I would have loved to have him in Detroit. How long was he staying for a cup of tea? But can he get a title during that cup of tea? If we could, well, we'll just spend the next 10 years rebuilding. But boy, that year was fun. And that's all they're signing up for. He's not tearing these teams apart. they are what they are before. When he leaves, they're exactly what they were before he left.
Right.
Miami Heat had won a title with Shaq and Wade.
Never heard of him.
And the two guys just obscure talents.
Two
But
guards.
then they were middle of the pack, 7, 8 seed, maybe a 6. He gets there, finals. He leaves, 7, 8 seed, maybe the middle of the pack, but more like 7, 8 seed this year. Cleveland was trash before he got there. They were good when he was there. They were trash when he left, and now look at them. I think the Knicks might be the only worst team in the league.
Right. Well, Cleveland's garbage just all around.
Well,
that's what you said.
No, that's not exactly what I said.
So then when he goes to L.A., he's 34 years old. He can't play 40 minutes a night. You're going to wear that guy out, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So you need some ramp-up time. He gets out there. You don't think there's anything that he has to say to those other guys that, hey, I know you guys were on the trade block for 48 hours. It's cool, though. We're all going to get along.
But you know what? If they like that, then they need to grow up and put their big boy pants on. This is professional sports. You don't unpack. Don't plan to be anywhere. I don't care who you play for. You might as well live in Grove City because you don't know if you're going to wake up and get traded or not.
That's an expanding community, Lou. I think you're saying that in a good way.
And they can get a good deal on the property, too.
So I wanted that you address that the Cleveland did not help him out. And I think that's what everybody says. So let's not talk about the free agency. I just thought some of these names.
Oh, you talking about as far as the drafts go?
Yeah, I just want to read some of these names off because let's see, 2003.
Everybody, get your Google machines out.
Yeah, Jason Capono. Oof. 2004, Luke Jackson, 10th overall pick. I don't even know that he stayed in the league 2 years. Shannon Brown in 2006. Boogie Gibson, 2006. Now, second round pick. I can't even say this guy's name. Ejike Ibuka, number 55 in 2006. So these three busters were there. J.J. Hicks in 2008. Christian Iyenga, 2009. And Danny Green, 2009, second round pick.
You got one basketball player in there, and that's Danny Green.
Oh, I disagree. I think this is Ejike Ibuka. But Danny Green did get a ring. He just had to get it in San Antonio.
Yeah, he played in the league a long time. I mean, he had a decent career. I mean, Boobie Gibson is famous for marrying Keisha Cole. That's what I mean. Anybody knows him.
What does he need to do?
That's it.
That's
all.
why you get to
wait
the
a minute.
league.
That's all he did.
I'm still
Trust me. She has as many points as he does.
Listen, if I could get on the bench and marry one of the girls from En Vogue, I would be doing it. And I know they got a lot of miles on their tire, but I'm just saying.
En
Bob
Vogue.
indeed.
En Vogue, huh?
So you want to defend LeBron. I still think that's a punk move, but I'm not saying it's just him. I'm saying it's the entire league.
It's the entire league, yeah. You're blasting the league. You're blasting the league, which I like the player mobility. If they want to partner up, just partner up in Detroit 1 year. My team is bad.
Are you going to sell out for that?
My team, they're so bad. Yeah, because I'm a football fan first, so I'll just take any supplementary title I can get.
Well, yeah, you defend Antonio Brown and all those other
Negative.
jokers.
Antonio Brown is going out the world backwards. Domestic violence incident pop up now.
That could happen to anybody.
It can. But when you're already digging a hole, probably should stop digging.
You see that
and he
cool
just
mustache?
keeps on going.
You see he did that blonde mustache? He's making a lot of good life choices right now.
Yeah, yes, he is not. Yeah.
So,
example of what not to do.
Yeah, so in your opinion, LeBron is doing the right thing, and I think the league is doing it. How do you stop it is my only question.
You can't, and I'm going to tell you why. Anthony Davis just turned down $50 million. They tried to stop it by offering the Supermax. They went from the max to the Supermax. They could offer him $50 million more than anybody else to stay in New Orleans. And he said no. I don't know what else they can do.
Say please.
They may have tried it.
Well, when he ends up in Boston, again, you're going to be on a run of you picked against the Patriots for 5 straight weeks.
Yeah, I'm done with that now. And I think
I'm not even bringing it up, Lou. They're wrong. I'm not saying that.
I think I'm done with that now that they got their 6th ring. It's like, okay, there's now it's no fun to mess with them anymore.
That was the only good thing about the Super Bowl is LeBron is tweeting about things, and I'm like, what? It's not really about this game. What else is going on?
Yeah.
All right, so in closing, you did agree with my statement that LeBron's a punk and is only about himself. That's a yes.
He knows better. He'll call me later. He knows better.
Since you're going to be gone for a few weeks, I want to get your take on this. Anthony Davis, while you're on vacation, goes where?
Back to the Pelicans. I don't think they're going to trade him because they're bitter.
I don't think they're going to play him either.
No, I think they're going to send him home. Yeah, I don't think he's going to play. I think he's going to sit at home.
That guy is like an extremely valuable asset. Don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Play a lot of Sega Dreamcast.
I would just send him home because they can't play him. He's going to get booed out of his own stadium. It's not going to be effective, and that'd be awesome.
That's the only thing I'd love to see is when Rafael Palmeiro testified in court as a big Orioles fan, and he said, "I had never."
Yeah, got the point at Congress.
And then he fails a drug test the week after hitting his 500th home run, and he got booed at home. And so he said, "You know what? There's only 10 games left. Just sit at home." That I would like to see that.
Yeah,
if
but
you're going to be
think they'll
disloyal, I want
set
to see that.
Yeah, I think they'll set him for the rest of the year because they cannot have him get hurt.
Right.
And he's already hurt, but they can't have him be out any serious injury. But I don't think they're going to trade him. They need to quit being upset and trade him. You're going through a divorce. Listen, at some point in time, you got to get over it. Trade him, get a bunch back for him, and start over. Because you realize they had him and Boogie Cousins. You're about to lose both of them without winning anything. They didn't win a playoff series.
Spoken like a true bitter Steelers fan. Well, that's going to be it for the week, Lou. Thank you very much. And we'll see you on Middles Open. We'll see Lou in a few weeks. See you next Sunday.